Hi Granny Gardeners. I wanted to talk to you today about seed viability. Some of you have reached out and let me know that you have seeds of your own that you may have had for a while and you're not sure whether they can still be planted. Seeds are perishable. How long they last depends a little bit on what kind of seed they are and how they were stored. Generally, if you have leftover seeds at the end of the year, you want to make sure that you store them somewhere that is dry and cool. That'll make them last longer. And when I post this video, I'm going to add a chart in the comments that explains the common length of time for different types of seeds for how long they last. Some seeds really only last a year or two, others might be viable for 10 years if you store them the right way. Any seeds that you get from me are very recent seeds that are definitely viable. They're all very new that have been provided to us. But one thing that you can do if you want to test whether your seeds are viable is you can do a germination test. So a germination test tells you what percentage of your seeds are going to succeed if you plant them. So what you want to do is take a piece of paper towel. You want to make it damp but not like soaking wet. And then I'm going to use beet seeds because they're big enough to see, but what you want to do is you want to lay out 10 seeds, if you can spare them, of the variety that you want to test. Just lay them out in a little row. See if I can move this without all of them rolling away. So here's what they look like on the paper towel. So lay them in a row, and then you want to roll your paper towel up. Not packed super tight, but roll it up with the seeds inside them so you get this little tube with a damp paper towel with seeds inside it. Then you want to take that damp paper towel, put it in a Ziploc bag, and leave that somewhere warm. So what you're going to do is you're going to check it after a few days and see how many have sprouted. Generally I'd give it 10 days if you can spare. And at the end of 10 days, if you unroll that paper towel and count how many of your seeds have started to sprout, that'll tell you what percentage of your overall seeds are still viable. So if all of my beet seeds sprout at the end of 10 days, I'll know that I have a 100% germination rate. If 5 of them sprout, then I'll know that 50% of my seeds are viable. And if you have old seeds and you're not sure whether they're still viable, or you've done a germination test and it's somewhere in the lower end, what you can do is when you're planting in your seed starting trays, just plant 3 or 4 seeds in each cell instead of just one, and that way the odds are pretty good that at least one of them is going to come up. It's a good thing to do that anyway. If you have seeds on hand, a lot of times they'll have information on the package. I don't know if you can read that, but right here on West Coast Seeds it usually says packed for 2020, so we know these turnip seeds are probably gathered last year. They were packed for growing for this year. It actually tells me the germination rate on here, that 98% of these seeds can be expected to germinate if I plant them this year. But not every seed package will have that information. Not every brand puts that right on the seed package. So what you can do is this germination test. And alternatively, you could just plant the seeds and hope for the best. I do that all the time too. But this is a fun little experiment, especially for those of you who are now looking at homeschooling and keeping your kids entertained in the house. This can be kind of a fun little project to do with them to test what percentage of your seeds are still viable. Thanks, Granny Gardeners.